Hello, everybody, and welcome back. We're into the final stretch now of our symposium for this year. Thanks very much, everybody, for coming back a little bit earlier. Finishing early is always a good goal for us to have. Before we get back into the presentations, just wanted to take a quick moment to thank a few human beings. First off, I wanted to thank Rick and Recycling Industries NT for sponsoring the dinner last night. So if you wouldn't mind putting your hands together and thanking Rick for that. And also to the NT government for sponsoring the symposium and helping us with Meredith's position as well. So big round of applause for NTG for helping us there. And can we thank the staff here at the venue as well? It's always hard work and hospitality, especially after last year. And I think, we've had some good feeds. We've been well looked after. It's been great. So big thanks to the Mercure and the rest of the team in Novotel. And of course, our sound tech crew at the moment, we've got Alice there. Yesterday we had Liam and Michael did all the setup. So big thanks to the tech crew. If you wouldn't mind doing that for me, that'd be awesome. All right, cool. A reminder, feedback forms are on your table. Please make sure that you do feedback forms before you disappear if you're one of those people that have to leave us early. But otherwise, I reckon we should jump straight into presentations. And one that I'm particularly excited to hear about as somebody who is 7 months pregnant at the moment, keen to learn all I can as we go along with this whole journey. Talking to us about reusable nappies, case study for daycare centres. Can I please get you to put your hands together and welcome to the stage Sheridan Rose, Member Service Officer for Local Government Association, NT.
Anyway, thank you for having me again. I know I saw a lot of you last year over the road. Can I just have a show of hands who hasn't seen me up here before talking about nappies? Okay, cool. So, excellent. So I've actually not butchered. I'm going to say I've adjusted last year's presentation because I wanted to give those who had seen me before, or myself and Jess, an update on where we are from last year, which is pretty exciting. But also for those of you who haven't spoken to me or seen me around the traps with regards to cloth nappies, to speak to you guys again. So again, a show of hands. When you think of cloth nappies, those of you who haven't seen me before, do you think of the old terry toweling white nappies? Yeah, I'm getting some nods. Yep. So this is going to be a bit of a mind-blowing journey for you. Let's hope it is. Let's be fair. Okay, so last year I had Jess Blackmore from Archer and I here with me. Unfortunately, she can't be here today, so I'm just running solo. Clicker's not working. This is an update. Okay, so I'm Sheridan Rose, LGANT Member Services Officer. So amongst doing all of the procurement for the preferred supply panels and local buy through LGANT, I'm also a small business owner and I'm also a mum of one. So this is Jacob this time last year. He's almost 2 and he wears cloth nappies full time and has done so since he was 3 months old. He was born like a little old man and they didn't fit at the time. Hence why I didn't start them from the beginning. And this is Jess, from Archer and I, who I work closely with. And she's an entrepreneur, small business owner, mum of 2. And she's also she has been awarded a couple of Mumpreneur awards of the year as well for her. She's a local business here in Darwin. She started her business around the time I started mine. And I can honestly tell you I've loved seeing her business grow. So she owns Archer and I, which sells local cloth nappies. So, short history of bum changes. Some of you have seen this. I'm just going to run really quickly through a couple of things, but I really want to bring your attention to the disposable nappy industry. As of October last year, that is a $10 billion annual revenue for Procter & Gamble. With that kind of revenue, because I'm pretty sure they're interested in protecting that, so they don't like people like me coming along trying to convince everyone not to use their disposable product. So just a couple of stats and figures that hopefully will blow your mind if you haven't seen this before. So one disposable nappy takes around 500 years estimated, depending on the type of nappy, to decompose. So that basically means every disposable nappy that anyone has ever used thus far on the earth is still in existence. That's pretty gross from my point of view. And being one of these sprightly young millennials, I don't like the way that makes my future look, just quietly. So we've done a few calculations around averages. So we estimate that one child, on an average of a change every 2 hours, in the first year will use around 2,920 nappies. So over the course of basic average of toilet training, that's around 7,300 nappies per child. That's pretty extensive. And those of you who haven't seen this before, did you have any idea that's how many nappies one single child would use? You guys are a tough crowd. I've had 2 presentations this week. Let's make this more of a discussion. So if you do have questions as we go along, feel free to just throw up that hand. So the solutions to that particular disposable problem are modern cloth nappies. I'm just going to separate these. For those of you that haven't seen them, these are not white terry toweling nappies anymore. These are a combination of different things. So they are a water-resistant backing with an absorbent insert. So there is no stewing these in copper pots over gas stoves anymore. These are literally, you wash them once a day, do a pre-wash, and every couple of days you do a main wash, and that's it. You dry them in the sun or not. Don't dry the outsides, just you can dry the insides in a dryer. These just go on the line. There you go, there's your cloth nappy. It is so much easier than terry toweling nappies. So when I told my mother a couple of years ago I was going to use these, I got a few choice words about I don't have time to do that. And when I showed her these, it's all good. So even now we plan our holidays around finding somewhere where we can wash. And last year we took a trip after the Waste Symposium. We went down to the LGANT conference in November in Alice Springs, and we took along our little guy. It was a 2-week turnaround trip, and we did cloth nappies the entire way. So we used no disposables on the road. We could make it work. Unfortunately, we did leave our air dryer somewhere in Tennant Creek. So someone's got a fancy new air dryer, closed air there. Anyway, so long story short, these are not your terry toweling anymore. All right, so there's a few benefits. You don't have to do all or nothing. You can change the absorbency, which you can't do with disposables. They look great. That is probably the biggest selling point of these. They are so much cuter than disposable nappies, and who needs pants anyway? Also, over the COVID-19 period, the lockdown period, we did see that a lot of families were really struggling to find nappies up here, especially the childcare centres. And these obviously negate the need for that. So I use cloth wipes and cloth nappies, and I was totally fine. I did not have to worry about. I actually use my allocation of 1 pack of wipes a day to give to my friends who don't use them. So they do have an end of life cycle recyclability. You can use both portions of the cloth nappy for different things. So things like using the insert here, you can pop them in your pot plants and they hold water. They really do hold water. And they can be repurposed. So this outer shell you can use as a swim nappy as well. And I think there's someone we discussed last time down in Tasmania actually turning these into like little booties at the end of taking the fibers apart and using them as booties, which is pretty cool. Okay, so there's a few obstacles, as some of you know about. The education is a big one. So the fact that there's still people out there that think that modern cloth nappies are terry toweling nappies, we come across that daily. So let's get into the update, a future without disposables. So last year we spoke about a case study. We looked at a franchise up here and we had them on board. We really did. It was so exciting. We got them right through to even the grant writing process. And then the directors came along and said no. So we were right there. We had the parents on board. We had the childcare centre director on board. The franchise directors and management, upper management who don't live in the NT said no. It's not going to happen. We're not going to spend that money. We're not going to give you the numbers you need to go out and have the grants, to write the grants. We were doing this pro bono. We were doing this for free on behalf of the centre. We just wanted to have a pilot case going. So we were denied. So we felt a bit deflated after that. And then by pure chance, we came across a not-for-profit childcare centre in the NT. And she walked into the Archer and I little shop at Casuarina. If you guys have seen the Only One Earth shop at Casuarina, they're stocked in there. Yep. So a childcare centre director, independent childcare centre director came in and bought these wet bags. Has everyone seen wet bags before? Yep. Hello. So these are water-resistant bags that you can take anywhere. This is what we put our cloth nappies in when we're out and about. So these are our little, a lot of people with disposables carry little disposable bags that they put their disposable nappies in and then throw all that plastic out. So we don't use any plastic when we're on the road because we use these, and you just wash these like normal. You don't put them in the dryer either because they're the same material as the backing of the modern cloth nappies. So she came in to buy some of these for her centre. So we did an assessment. We went out there a couple of weeks ago. We did an assessment, and it looks around to be around $9,900 for the initial startup based on how many changes per child when the centre is at full capacity and things like that. So from our reading over the past couple of months since we saw you last, we can apply for grants for this kind of thing. But we do have the problem, we're up against the laundry, we're not up against, it's just hard to find a way to wash these. So we came up with another solution. If we could apply for grants and include building of a laundry, supplying of the machines, supplying of washing products if we need to for the first year, supplying of education, and the OH&S Australian Standard Laundry standards being written into the policies and procedures of the childcare centre, would that particular childcare centre entertain us doing all that on their behalf? Of course, they said yes. So, and I'll just give a shout out that they are located in the Darwin government area. So what we are going to do now, and we've had builders come in to do some free quotes. So when we tell the builders that this is a bit of a pilot project, it's never been done in Australia that we know of, that a childcare centre has gone 100% cloth. So it's really exciting. They are putting in quotes at the moment. We are getting quotes from safety consultants about how to put that into the childcare policies and procedures. So it's well in excess of the requirements of the legislation around childcare OH&S. We're also conducting staff and parent education sessions in the centre. And on top of that, there will be no disposables available at this childcare centre once this has all gone through. So this is really exciting. This is not only going to educate the educators, because they came to us, they went to the director who came to us and said, my educators do not want this. They don't want to deal with shit, basically. So we came up with a solution for the biodegradable bamboo liners that will actually remove that whole issue. They don't have to be spraying anything. They don't have to deal with it. They just remove the biodegradable liner. We've gone through the washing, how they're going to do in the actual centre, how are they going to wash them, what that looks like on a daily basis. We're coming up with things like timetables. We are doing the whole back end work for them so that the educator can come in and not have to worry about doing nappies, but they've gone 100% cloth. So I'm really proud to say that we are currently writing the grant for that, getting all the quotes. And we've got the help of the grant guru in Sydney. He's actually going to give us a hand pro bono to write this grant so we can get this off the ground. Because once one childcare centre sees it's going in and it's saving them money, we're going to have a few others join. So what we're also doing with this is we're going to have some education sessions too. We're going to send out an invite to every single childcare centre director within the Palmerston, Litchfield and Darwin local government area, and invite them to some education sessions about how to implement it in their centre. So I'm pretty proud of this. This has never been done before that we know of. Go for it. All day. And we calculated on the nappies of, the average of how many kids would need them. So 25 in 0 to 2. There's 15 at the moment that we know of in 2 to 3, and they have 10 emergencies for 3 to 4. So I'm really proud to have a chat about that. If anyone's got any more questions on that, feel free to just throw them out now. We can have a chat at the end. But I wanted to give you some updates on the statistics we found around the NT and your local government area. So this is 2018. This is information we showed you last year. We've now got 2019. There's been a 10.8% drop in the amount of babies born in 2019 compared to 2018. However, we don't have the 2020 statistics yet. This is at the latest release from the ABS. We don't have 2020 yet, but anecdotally, we know from speaking to RDH that there has been up to a 200% increase in babies born recently, which is great for our population growth, but not so great for our disposable nappy landfill. So if we look at that and go, that is actually that's still 10.6 million nappies in 1 year in the territory alone in 2018. That is not good. Even if we get half of those babies into cloth, that's going to be such a huge reduction in the amount of disposable nappies going to landfill. And can I just get, do we have the waste companies here? We got Veolia and NTRS and everyone. Do you guys have any statistics around how much waste you have to actually dump because of contamination from nappies? Just throw it out here, guys. That's a yes or a no or whatever it might be. If you do, we would love to hear from you and have a chat about how we can reduce that for you guys. And councils, you will love that because it's going to reduce waste bills. So, oh, wrong one. I know you guys can't see this. Well, if you can, fantastic, excellent on the 2020 vision. I've taken the local government areas in the Northern Territory. We've calculated their births we've taken that from the ABS, the number of births in 2019. We've looked at the number of nappies on average used in your local government area. Now, this is number of births. So this is not, separating out live births, stillbirths, that kind of thing. This is how many babies were born at that hospital. Okay, so this is sort of the top end of the statistics. I'm only dealing with first year uni statistics here, people, so bear with me. So we've got the number of nappies used in your LGA. So I'm just going to pull out a few here if you can't see them. West Arnhem, on average, there was 248,000 nappies used in the first year of a child's life, on average, in 2019, if they were to use disposables. So this is worst case scenario. In Darwin, you've got 3,445,000 nappies used on average. So last year we spoke to you about how councils could help, and we spoke about a rebate. Now, there's been rumblings of a few councils having a chat about rebates within their local government areas and offering them to new parents in their area. If they buy from a local nappy supplier, they can take their receipt and go and get a rebate for those. So we did a quick cost benefit analysis of the cost of the rebate to council. So based on the 2019 figures of how many births were in your local government area, and if the council was to introduce a rebate system whereby new parents could recoup $150 of the outlay of cost of nappies, the cost to council is significant. Well, to me, across doing what I do in councils, to me, it doesn't seem like a lot. And when you think about the future and where, all of these disgusting disposable nappies have gone, if we look at 10 million nappies, 10.6 million nappies in 1 year, the cost to council we've calculated on a $150 rebate would be just over $500,000 across the Northern Territory, just to reduce disposable nappies, to help reduce, I should say. Let's leave this open for interpretation. So if we look back at a couple of councils, so Darwin, that equals $177,000. So $177,000 to offer your constituents an opportunity to even try cloth. The more cloth nappies that are in your local government area, the less likely people are to use disposable nappies. So if anyone wants to see the up-close details of that, please let me know. So local government support. So we just use an example of $150. Some councils down south are offering $300. Some of them are offering $100. It's an incentive for people to try and use cloth. Even if they don't, they've tried, they've said no. It's like me trying Vegemite, people. I tried it, I'm not doing it again. It's not for me. So local government support looks like, if it's something that your council can even want to have a look at, looking at rebates for families to enjoy that product or have a go at that product. And that doesn't even mean it needs to be cloth nappies. It can be anything from reusable sanitary pads right through to even just swim nappies, everything like that. You can have a look, or you could support us to support your childcare centres by offering environmental grants that these childcare centres could be eligible for to help build those laundries, help install the initial cost of the nappies in those centres. You could support us to support you with education classes, which we will do free of charge. We will come out and work with the councils to do education around what they are, how to clean them, how to reuse them. And we, just on that topic actually, we sometimes feel, depending on how they're laundered and the use of them, the elastics down the side, as all elastics can, sometimes disintegrate over time. We have a local mums group who actually replaces the nappy free of charge, and we donate them to people who don't have the opportunity to buy these outright. So we do try and have them come full circle. They're not just throw out if the elastics, we can replace them. So we would love to get involved with the community centres, especially with the maternal child health nurses, so that they know that it's not the terry toweling cloth anymore. Healthcare centre promotion, we'd love to just get out into your communities and have these chats. We're happy to travel. I mean, with LGANT anyway, I do travel, so I'm more than happy to use my evenings, Peter. And then within the within the private sector, we are really keen to work with the waste companies to do some sponsored education programs. If that's going to reduce the contamination for those companies that work with the councils, we would love to have a chat with you, or we'd love to have a chat with you regardless of whether you work with councils, let's be fair. So we would love to work with everybody to install cloth nappy as the norm, not the option, because currently it's the reverse. So the next chapter, we hopefully by the end of the year, I can come back to you at our next waste symposium, even if it's just a slide here or there, to tell you that it's been successful. We've built the laundry, we've installed the new Hills hoist, and we've installed everything into this particular not-for-profit childcare centre. We would love to have a chat with you around rebates in your council and what that looks like and how it could work. It's not for the benefit of our businesses, it's the benefit of our council. So we know that there's 9 cloth nappy retailers in the Darwin, Palmerston, Katherine regions. So we are working on behalf of them, whether they realise it or not, to help increase their sales, which is your small mum and dad businesses. So a lot of these businesses started up as, like me, with women on maternity leave, either getting bored or wanting to have a side income. So it's really good to support those, that regional economic development. So we'd actually love to have a discussion with councils about using modern cloth nappies in their facilities. So I know that some councils actually run their childcare centres. So if you're worried about how to launder them, we'll come out and have a look with you to see what that's going to look like in your regions. Education within community. So to have the backing of Darwin City Council, not throwing anyone under the bus there, for us to come out and have the support of Darwin City Council to do those education sessions, we would love to get out there and have that support, not just as a standalone, but together in partnership with, and also childcare centre education. So that's where we're heading. That's where we've been. Hopefully those statistics are still shocking to you. And yes, I'd like to take any questions if you've got any. Oh, lots of hands. Hopefully I can answer them. Go for it. Yes, there is currently a nappy library here. We looked at the cost of that compared to buying them. For some women, that's just not achievable. Or some parents, I should say, that's just not achievable. So we would love to have councils potentially subsidise that. That'd be a great idea. So yes, there is one only here in Darwin. Yep. Yep. Sorry? Yes, it definitely is. And post-maternity nappies, post-birth nappies, I should say. That's a really good question. So we haven't actually sized up yet, but we have sized down. This is sort of inside information. We're sort of sizing these down so to actually get them into hospitals for preterm babies, which is really nice. So we haven't gone the other way yet, just because we want to solidify one market before we move on to the next. Yeah, thanks for your question. So Peter's coming around.
Thanks very much. As an alderman on City of Darwin, I love your talk. You'd be glad to know I happened to discover your beautiful products and sent, there's a trial going on, right? I sent them to my son and daughter-in-law along with nappy liners. I'm awaiting the message that they're using them. They told me they weren't. Now, just on that point, if on the label it said something like your child's going to use 3,000 nappies that are going to last 500 years in landfill, that might help me to get them, which it will now help me get the message across.
Yeah.
But from my City of Council hat, City of Darwin, obviously we have a number of community-owned childcare centres. Well, they're owned by the City of Darwin. We hand them over to be community run.
Yep.
So I'm hoping that you'll be able to convert all of those into this system.
Yep.
And there are environmental grants with the City of Darwin. So that's another area you can actually hit us for money. So I wish you well, and I'll certainly tell Council about it. But yeah, I think you've got a magnificent product. I love what you're doing, and I'm hoping you're just going to expand to sanitary pads and everything.
Thank you very much. Thanks. Yeah, we have looked at a couple of environmental grants. We are just waiting on the final costings because we want to make sure that we're going for the right appropriate grants when we looked at the costings of this. So we know the initial outlay is going to be at least $10,000 for all of the nappies to be in that childcare centre. So we're just waiting on the building so we can package it all up and see what grants are available. But thank you for drawing to my attention that the City of Darwin does. Can we? Can we? Yeah. Yes, thank you. And we do know, we've got the inside word from one of your innovation people, because we've actually met with them as well to discuss this. They asked us to get some more research and development behind this and see, what does that look like on paper? Unfortunately, we can do that. We need to go and get grants internally for that. So we are going from every side to try and, get this in wherever we can. So I thought I would actually turn up to one of your meetings and put in my little, but I'm from Palmerston, so I don't know if I could just, thank you. Thank you. Any more questions out there? Yep.
So a couple of things. So do you have your data available on your website because I see you doing a really good job with education. So just curious whether it's available in public arena or if you share it.
I'm more than happy to share it. We often, when we go out having a chat to people about this, we have some of these memorized, ready to go. In saying that, I'm eagerly awaiting the 2020 birth statistics. That'll be really interesting to see where that, how that changes over the course of that year. I must probably make it very clear that Archer and I, which is the cloth nappy retailer up here, and my business, we are separate businesses. So I can absolutely go back to Jess and say, this is a great idea, let's put it on your website. But I couldn't attest to whether that's on there right now. That's a really, really good idea. Thank you.
Yeah. The other thing is probably not really a question for you, but I'm just wondering if regional or if councils have a role in, allowing non-for-profit or community-run childcare centres, allowing them to operate, whether or not there's provision to incentivise them to use the nappies or to have some requirement that they have a plan to transition or something like that.
Well, with some of our research and the discussions we've had with people, staff of councils, we do know that some childcare centres are both leased, the premises on which they are leased to childcare centres. So one of the discussion points we had was to potentially get to a point where, as part of the lease, you need to start transitioning to cloth by a certain date. And those council-run ones, the ones that council runs directly, we would love to see how that, could work for them as a council to save them money as well. So we do understand there are constraints around waste in remote communities and education and things like that. We are willing to go the full mile to do what it takes to get these as the norm, not the option. So, yeah. Thank you for your question. Thank you. Anyone else? Nope. Okay, so last year we did bring a whole bunch of them. We put them on every table. If you haven't seen them and would like to see them up close, you're more than welcome to come up here. We do have these 2 packs available, just a quick spruik out there. Discounted, I picked them up today from Archer and I. So there's 2 packs here, they're $100 each. They're 4 cloth nappies. All of these designs are designed by local Northern Territory artists. And you're more than welcome to take these off my hands today for $100. Cool. I'll thank you very much.
The designs are actually really cool. I went and bought a bunch of them the other day from that little shop in Casuarina, and the ones that I've got for my future kid are all covered in bin chickens because I think it's, totally territory. There's crocodile ones. There's all sorts. It's a cool vibe, and there's a good Facebook group of people sharing stuff about reusable nappies and advice and stuff. They're really active in there.